Well, what's the crack, everybody? How are you getting on? Welcome to episode 189 of Buckshot, baby. What's the crack? You well? It's been an alright week. Bit sticky, bit fucking humid, but we can get there. We'll get there. We've people now listening in Florida going, you fucking joke me. Try 99% humidity continuously. Here's me suggesting there's people in Florida listen to this. There probably is. We have quite a few people in the Americas. What's the crack? It is Friday the 11th of June 2021. Or if you're a patron, you would have gotten this kind of late last night, but I recorded it literally 2 minutes ago, which I'm speaking to you from last night, which is, Christ almighty, I'm like fucking Doc Brown here, lads. Marty McFly and Doc Brown talk about the time fucking space shift continuum. Like any of us know what that is. Well, you're all very welcome. If you're brand new to it, hey, have a look. 189 episodes. Guess how many others there is? Well, you're wrong. There's fucking rakes more than that. Because there's 123 Ramble Pods as well. I was taking out a Patreon only Ramble Pod this week, but we have started moving stuff over. I'm getting wired for electricity at the minute, so the new studio, there's going to be a lot of painting and what's not. So there's a little bit of disruption. I have notes and everything made, but I will get out a Ramble Pod. I might even get out 2 next week. Purely for the patrons, but you will be getting the video to this and the ad-free content as well. You know, you're getting the early access to all the Tom and Jerry show stuff. So I suppose there's not too bad getting 3 shows out to you this week. It's not too bad, but I do like to get the 4 between this, you know, the Buckshot, Ramble Pods, Tom and Jerry show, and of course the Tom and Jerry show bonus episodes, which had Bernard Jackman tell a fucking brilliant story about his time trying to just corral a bunch of professional French rugby players to Toulouse, essentially. And it was heartbreaking from beginning to end. So go check out the Tom and Jerry show if you're brand new. Have a gander. There's loads. I think there's like 37 or 38 episodes up there of good stuff. Bags to get through. So yes, thank you very much, Patreon. Also, it was going to be a struggle to get out the video to the Ramble Pod this week because my camera, I've been overusing it. It shit the bed during the live feed last week. It was kind of getting a bit ropey the week previous. And it was just, I was kind of blending into the background weirdly and just shit the bed. And I then plugged in the old camera. And that made me look like I had been to the actual sun. For some reason, I looked like Hellboy. My skin was bright red and my eyes were just hyper blue. But it made for a funny interaction with all the patrons over on the live feed. With a, live podcast with the Patreons last Sunday. Powerful crack. With some good news, with some, heartbreaking news shared amongst each other. None of it recorded. Loosey-goosey, drinksy weeksies had. We'll have another one in a couple of weeks. So, if you're thinking about becoming a Patreon, do. Because you get all those benefits. There you go. You know the crack. Follow me on all the usual platforms. I'm everywhere. Podcast is everywhere. Follow Tom and Jerry everywhere. Leave a review because the planning is in place. 11 weeks out and counting to the 200th episode, which I want to do live. I want to do a live episode of the 200 one. So we're 11 weeks out. Please, Jesus, let everything be open back up. That would set us somewhere, what's that, 2.5 months? That would put us somewhere probably in close to September, I would imagine. No, well it would, maybe the end of August. I have no idea. I have no mathematical brain. It's late at night. If I can get it pulled off, but we don't fucking know what's happening with theatres and shit. But there's loads more podcasty stuff coming with various other platforms that people I'm jumping on with. Lots more funny stuff in the pipeline, lads. So stay fucking tuned. Yes, I just plugged in my phone there. It's nearly blew my head off with the little tone to tell you you've plugged in your phone. Anyway, that is everything you need to know if you are brand new. The people that are not brand new and are been there since the beginning are going, would you shut the fuck up and get to today's guest? I get you. I hear you. And I am. Today's guest, it's his second time. It's returned back to Buckshot. Tom Savage is his name. What an interesting time Tom has had in between our last fucking meeting and this one. Incredible. We've had nobody on the podcast share this life experience. I mean, not even fucking close to this absolute, unbelievable fucking digging yourself. Talk about pulling yourself by your bootstraps, both fucking metaphorically and physically, but mentally, to take himself to a point where he is absolutely fucking crushing it at the top of the fucking food chain when it comes to sports media, really. You know, it is based primarily on Munster rugby, but the reality is he covers a lot of rugby, but makes it fucking fun too, and kind of pulls back the kayfabe, the old curtain on where his inspiration comes from. But the fucking incredible story. This was just a brilliant podcast. So you know what? Cancel all the rest of your shit for the day. Just sit back and enjoy the fantastic Tom Savage.
Mr. TRK himself, Tom Savage. What a great
on the mic
name.
that came with my phone.
To be fair to you, it's a good fucking mic.
I have a professional mic that I could have used, but the mic that came with my phone on this little thing is actually better.
Isn't that a sickener?
It is a sickener.
That's a
I paid
pure
€100
sickener.
for the phone, and I paid 120, €130 for that fucking mic, and this is better. This is like feeling a bit steamed.
I know, yeah. Like I've this thing here, like, but like what that does, it's fine. It's nearly fine for voiceover. But if I was speaking to you, there's no fucking way you could listen to me for an hour. You go, Tom, seriously, because it's very hi, Tom. I'm like the caramel bunny trying to fucking sell you something over this side. It's like,
The audio is too rich.
it's way too rich. It's way too rich. Without the two of us being in the same room and properly having, I don't think people buy it. They're like, listen, we all know about Zoom, lads. Stop fucking bullshitting. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like
they want a little bit of that authentic, just kind of rubbishness in the audio. Last time in the pub, you had the nice mics.
Yeah, they work. Yeah, they work good. They work despite the fact that there was ambulances going by. We were technically in a pub, albeit a beer garden, supping pints.
Getting shots, the whole lot. We're on the mean streets of Cork City.
I don't. Cork never really kicked off with the rough thing. How did they keep it under control? And like, because Galway goes wild every so often. Limerick is Limerick. Dublin is Dublin.
I think it stays in the Cork bubble.
Is that it?
It's just the kind of the thing, because like when if you know you're not from Cork. I'm from the good area of Cork, but if you look at Cork City, like whenever you see people on the on airplanes, right? Like if you're leaving in an airplane from Cork Airport going somewhere, there'll be people on there who'll be just like when they say we will now be landing into Cork or whatever else, and somebody will go, "Woo, yeah, Cork."
Yeah.
It's almost like there's a kind of we'll try and keep this in-house almost, so that if there is too much of a kickoff, we'll just be like, let nobody outside the borders find out about this. Let's keep this in-house. Although I'll tell you what, when I lived in Cove many years ago, this was in and around 2007, 2008, 2009, around that time, there was a gang that started off down in Cove.
A gang?
Called a gang, and they were actually a gang called the Blazing Squad. Now you might be thinking, wasn't there a band called that? And there was around the same time.
I mentioned jackets, like all with jackets, the Blazing Squad.
No, they had homegrown or homemade tattoos on their necks, a B, and that kind of, you know that S that was everywhere, the first meme in secondary school, on their necks, BS for the Blazing Squad, and they would go around causing hassling in Cove at the weekends, kicking over bins and so on. Getting into fights with other bands, like, I don't know, Westlife or whatever they call themselves.
They always sticking their fingers in their flick knives. Just West Side Story kicking up.
I remember just at the time, it's just like Blazing Squad. And every time anybody heard, the Blazing Squad, it's just like, aren't they the band? But like there was like 40,000 fellas in that band. So it's just like, is this just a chapter of that band? Do they have a farm, an academy system? It was wild, but like I said, look, you never really hear a lot of stuff kicking off in Cork. It doesn't really happen. Although
I think you're right. Cork people are very good for keeping. It's almost like the Irish media with rugby players, with Irish rugby players. We keep that quiet now. We just keep the good side out all the time, the shiny side.
Who needs to know any of those?
Sure, look at what good would it do? There was a great story of since I've moved back to Tipperary, getting all these unbelievable stories that I would have never appreciated before. And almost in the team of the Cork thing, there was a guy up the road who had a brother, and the brother was but for all intents and purposes, absolutely a cute whore. But as would come across as I'd say at the time, a bit daft. So they had to keep him out of. And there was a match being made with this chap, and they had to keep the daft brother, as they called him, down the room. And the only way he'd stay down the room would be if they gave him cake. And they says, now there's some cake, stay in the room and don't you fucking appear while the parents and this girl are checking us out, because our match will be made with fucking Dan above in the room. So don't be acting. It's fine. Just give me cake. I'll fill my boots down here. You do your shit. I do me. You do you. I'll stay down here. Don't you come up here. Do not appear. And literally, as things were going great, he ran out of cake and opened the door with his plate out going, I'm going to fucking appear. I'm going to appear unless some cake arrives down. And the story went that I'm going to, and it was almost like that with the Cork thing. Like every so often, like some mad whore from Cork would stick their hand for cake past the Dunkettle roundabout.
Trouble.
And all of a sudden, Micheál Martin has to come on, fly on the back of a winged monkey down from Dublin with
break
a big
COVID
cake.
protocols to come down. Where, lads? What did I say? Although I'll tell you what, like when I was kind of moving from West Cork up to the city for college, my parents had this kind of idea that Cork City was quite rough.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's in the city, big city, it must be rough. So one of the areas where I was looking to go at the time was Barrack Street. There was rent was cheap there. College area, yeah. So at the time, or maybe back in my parents' time, Barrack Street had the reputation of being this super rough place. And I was just like, it's not rough. It's not. Look, there's
hummus.
There's
hummus now.
There's coffee places. There's bars. There's a Garda station that's just that's just over across the road. What could possibly go wrong? So we sign up for it anyway. And literally, I think one of the first weeks that I was there, somebody got set ablaze, literally set on fire,
like it's a
on the
monk.
street, like with petrol doused over him and set on fire.
He wasn't a Munster rugby player.
Well, we don't know. Like, did he that? Jesus. But like when you look at
what the fuck, lads? I mean, three of you, I have come from a culture I've known about barbecues and stuff. Don't use petrol.
Yeah, it's just like, and but honestly, look, you are from rural Ireland. I am from rural Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
We use petrol to set things on fire here. Yeah.
No, it's true. It is absolutely true. It is absolutely true. Like I was reading that people like there's a huge exclamation for people going, "Fucking petrol, lads!" It's like, yep. In fact, fucking absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what else would you be using?
You need to get point A to point B, and you need fire to go.
The Bord Namona firelighters, join them in.
No, thank you.
No,
thank you.
Let's just skip that. Throw the petrol in. Now, ideally, it wouldn't catch fire, but shit happens with petrol. That should be the tagline for petrol. Shit happens. If you're not careful with petrol,
I'm sensing a new T-shirt coming out of TRK right now.
Oh, stop! No, that's one of the forbidden ones. Couldn't do that.
No, you couldn't do that.
But yeah, no, lots changed since I last spoke to you.
Yeah, Jesus, man. Well, obviously, I moved back down to 2 Munster and all the rest of it. I was married. We've had a child since then.
I've seen him on Instagram. He's the bop off you.
He is, yeah. And for the ages, I was kind of people going, "Oh, he's really like you." I was like, "No, he looks like a little old Asian man. What are you talking about? Like, do I look like a little old pirate?" And then the thing that weirded me out was like my male friends who would like tough blokes in comedy give you no compliments. They go, "He's the head off you. He's really cute." And I'm like, "Do you find me cute?" Is that
that means that I'm cute.
Why, thank you. But now, yeah, you can see it. Yeah, but you don't. I didn't really see it for ages. And then what I actually saw was my grandfather's look. My grandfather, he was 100. He passed away there about a month ago. But he had this look, lovely man. But he had a look that would stop your fucking heart if you did something wrong. You know, that look that takes years to develop, or just genetically you have it. That look that would freeze your fucking blood just with his fucking look. Peter O'Mahony has it.
Yes, yeah,
you know,
before he goes.
Look. Yeah. A bit of pee comes out, a bit of piss comes out, and he has it. He had it at 6 months. He had it at 6 months. The fucking dog was losing her life, fucking barking at something in the tree, and he just shot the dog a fucking look, and the dog stopped.
That's good. That will serve him well in rural Ireland.
I think so. Yeah. But he's such a fucking farmer of young fella. There's no way he could have raised him in Dublin. He just would have found himself drawn back to his roots and like wearing wellies to primary school and stuff. He just would have been a laughing stock. He's suited to this environment.
It wouldn't suit. Some people are just too country for the city.
Yeah,
and that's my problem. I don't sound it, but I'm too country for the city. I get spooked by all the noises.
I know, and that's a good country song. If ever you were thinking of TRK branching some country music, that's a great title of a song.
Do you know what? Since I've been back down here, country and Irish music. Tell you what, you can't beat it.
There's a lot to be said for. I tell you, it's
simplicity.
It's an underground thing that if I had my time over, I'd learn 3 strings on the guitar and go on the fucking road with country music
and learn 3 song topics.
That's it.
Your hometown,
yep,
your home country, and your mother. Those are the 3 topics in country and Irish songs. If you get them, you can write any song.
Anything. Like, just know a couple of towns in each county would be handy too. You're off the. And if you have something automotive for your back catalogue.
Oh, there you go. You'll get that money. There's a crowd down here. They're called Natural Gas. Beautiful. They basically do the version of a musical meme every now and then. If something goes into the news,
yeah,
kind of deep enough so that it'll show up on your uncle's Facebook, they'll make a song about it. They've done songs about the Queen. They've done songs about all this other stuff. And you'd hear it on the country and Irish because, like, we have C103 down here.
Yes.
And it's like you have the country and Irish thing on the Sunday afternoon while the dinner's being made. John Green on C103 and all these country songs about there was a guy the other day, right? Because they have this in C103. They started this influencer style stuff now.
Really?
Kind of. There was this guy comes in and he's doing this bit where he was just like, people in life get anxious, okay? Anxiety, a lot of people in this world today are very anxious. But you know what I've found? It is literally impossible for you to be gracious and nervous at the same time. If you have gratitude in your life, you just can't be anxious. It's impossible. I'm just like, really?
No,
Let's see.
I'm pretty sure you're wrong. I'm pretty sure you're wrong there. I'm no rocket surgeon, but I'm pretty sure you're wrong.
But that kind of stuff hit the internet around 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting all those kind of Pepe memes and the far right stuff to land on C103 in around 2 years' time. So they'll all start voting for Trump over here and they're wondering, well, how the hell did this happen? It's just taken that long to percolate down.
Let's be storming the Capitol building and everything. Like, some cunt in fucking Dripsy walking around with a buffalo hat.
Do you know what? We should make America great again. We should. In fairness, they were right.
Oh Lord! But anyway, TRK has become. I've gone out of focus. I've blended into. Oh, there we are. I've blended in. For anybody listening to audio, I just go pure loving up to Tom. I'm wearing my 2006 jersey, which was in Cardiff, and my backdrop is because Tom hasn't enough Munster in his life. I'm just munstering the Munster out of this Munster.
Gosh, I'm wearing a red t-shirt. I was wearing red runners, and I've got some of my old merch on the back of this chair here.
Beautiful.
From many years ago that people confused for Ulster merch. But there it is.
It does have a David Humphreys vibe about it, all right, in all fairness. Like, you know.
It does. The educated. Is he a solicitor? Kind of look to him.
Yeah. But because TRK, because for anybody who's wondering who's in a rugby, like, it nearly crosses all. Like, there's people I would say follow Three Red Kings who don't really give much of a shit about rugby, but you put up some banging stuff, in all fairness. Like, there is definite tongue-in-cheek, and what I think people nearly watch it voyeuristically because you'll put up a tongue-in-cheek post for the Dermots to come out of the fucking woodwork, who just, they're hooks, like mackerel in August. You put 20 hooks on a fucking line, drop it off the end of your garden if you have a nice garden in Crosshaven. You will catch 20 fucking mackerel, aka Dermots. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, it is weird. Like, and the thing is, I was expecting back in March of last year, when the world ended, I was expecting that would kind of be it for me, because I was always in a position where I was kind of like, this is all going to go away at some point.
Of course.
So I thought,
because it's uncharted territory, you know what I mean? Like, it's nobody's really done what you've done before, you know.
Yeah, so I'm kind of like, when that happened and rugby just kind of stopped, I was just like, well, shit, this
Yeah.
was unexpected. Now I can't say as somebody who's who does have schizophrenia and was dealing with serious paranoid delusions that I hadn't considered a global pandemic, but for it to actually happen, it was just like, interesting.
My God.
Would you look at that? And then it's just like, that was right. You see, I told you. So it was a shocker. Because then, like, literally, my business is based on people subscribe to my site. I write about rugby that's happening, rather than the good old days or the whatever. And that's what happens week to week to week. So in March, much like everybody else, it just kind of stopped. But it's just like I couldn't really go on furlough or do the pandemic unemployment payment. So I was just like, how do I even do? I still don't even know. I never took it, not even once. I didn't even know how to do it. So I was just like, so what do I do? So I just kind of kept going.
Yeah.
Doing different bits and pieces over from March to maybe July, August. Yeah. Tough, but it kept going, obviously. And when it came back, because I'm wrote in a match preview there, and just was in the middle of writing earlier that all these players went to go do PCR testing every week.
Yeah,
they went doing training in a bubble, playing in front of fucking cardboard cutouts, and keeping the likes of me in a job. They're working, they're getting paid, but they're entertaining people, giving people something to be, up or down about, which is something in the pandemic where everything was just kind of the same week to week to week, which was, it was good for me. I needed that. But when it came for everybody else, just like every week kind of became the exact same. There was no difference.
It was like groundhog shit.
Everything was like one of that weird bank holiday Sunday, except you couldn't go to the pub and everybody was just stuck. And it's just like, I feel like I should be having a roast. That was kind of like the whole feeling for the first 6 months.
It's Tuesday, Tom. It's Tuesday.
Should I be making a roast? And it was just.
Can we go to mass? Anybody? Can we go to mass?
You can't even go to mass, which is the problem around here. God, the people used to get vicious around here. It's just like, can't even go to mass. But so God, it really did change the whole lot. But because like after I spoke to you, a couple of months later, I ended up in mental hospital.
I saw like the post you posting about that, and it didn't resonate initially because it was like, is he talking about somebody else? Do you know? Because it was so, you said it, not blasé is the wrong word, but almost open bookish on Twitter. I went, is this shit? I don't know what he's talking about, because chaps like you tend to know far more. You have your finger on the pulse of things. Where I'm not quite West Cork, where I'll be right wing in 2 years' time, but I'm definitely 37 hours behind everybody else. Around 37 hours behind everybody else. Not too far back down to the queue, but at the same time, I don't have my finger on the pulse. So I was fully sure. I said, Tom's talking about somebody else here, I'd say, is he? But then I realized, oh, wait a fucking second. This is fucking Tom talking about Tom.
Yeah,
so,
I was.
Tell us from the time we had pints and I was gigging in, was it Coughlin's? Collins, that's right,
yeah. At that time, I was in the middle of a psychotic break.
Right. Jesus. You had it stitched together well anyway for that evening.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
Pints of Smittix or whatever you were on fucking sorted.
Where it was Beamish.
Together. Beamish, sorry, excuse me. Jesus.
My perception of reality was had completely shifted. And I'd say not a few months later, it all kind of came down crashing around me, where things I thought were real were not real.
Right. So give an example of what, so in case anybody's listened to this and at some point they go, Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Because this isn't something you learned, this afternoon, kids, we're going to have double religion. And immediately after that, we're going to have mindfulness and what to look out for if you're fucking, we don't have it. So how did you know it was even fucking, the wheels were coming off the wagon?
Because things started to stop making sense.
Oh.
It turned out that people that I thought I was speaking to, I was not.
Fuck. So it wasn't that there are lizards living inside the Queen.
No,
it was
telling me things.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, telling me things, and I was basing my reality, things I was doing in real life, based on things. And the thing is, scary thing about this is, I still remember what the voices sound like.
Fuck. So these weren't
These weren't people I knew.
that's what I'm saying. Sorry, yeah. So this wasn't a formulated scenario of somebody like Teresa from down the road rang you, but she didn't fucking ring you at all. This was just total fucking. So this is your brain firing, going, I'm gonna create a new fucking person here for him.
Telling me things and telling me things I should be worried about. And I was just like, oh, okay, yeah. And just tilting my reality. And then it just all stopped making sense. It just kind of remember I ended up in a Garda station because I thought people were coming to try and kill me. So then I was in the Garda station and they were just like, this doesn't seem right here. So at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday night, I ended up in the mental hospital.
So you're at home, then mental hospital. How in the Christ, where's the jump there? Who looked after you? What?
People calling me on the phone, well, that I felt were calling me on the phone, telling me that they were coming to get me.
Fuck.
Sending me threats, sending me this, that, and the other. And I ended up in the Garda station because this was happening, scary.
Right.
And they were just like, no, that they were not able to see anything of that. And there was a lovely South African man who came in, who I recognized because he was speaking in an accent that I understood from rugby.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you're from Johannesburg? And he was just like, yes. And I was just like, I recognize your accent. And he was just like, great, yeah. And so then we started talking about the other mad shit that I was in there talking about. So I ended up being sent over to the mental hospital. And I arrived over there at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning with the doctors and with the nurse who was there who took me in. And they took me in and they gave me pills.
Yeah.
And I took them. And there I was in the mental hospital at 2 o'clock in the morning, surrounded by in a ward with 2 other people.
So like this is phenomenal, and I would say 99% of people here have no grasp of that scenario. So you're sitting there. Are you fucking terrified when you come to as a result of these tablets, or are you in Chillville going, okay?
No, I was in a situation where 2 things were true at the one time, but they couldn't both be true.
Of course, yeah, okay.
Thing is, like, even now, a year and a bit later, I still remember the things that were being said to me and crystal clear. I probably won't remember the majority of this conversation after we're finished with it. As you don't really remember things.
No, you don't. No, you would. No.
I remember.
Thank God for recording.
It's like the sketchbook I'm going to make it. This is going to be so good. So I went. So like I still have memories of exactly what was said and pauses in the sentence of people saying things and then like going, yeah. So what you need to do is, yeah, you need to do this. That was exactly. I would remember exactly what was said, down to the intonation in the sentence.
Were they women or was it men ringing you? Was it Irish people?
Men, women, Irish people.
Wow. So is the idea because it's so lucid and still there because your brain was just going, I'm writing this myself. Thank you very much.
I had no, like, because at that point, I would not really sleep. Right. But I would not be aware that I was awake either. So I would be awake. I would maybe sleep maybe 3 or 4 hours a night, but be up. But I would be in bed, get up, be walking around doing things, get back into bed, like schizophrenia.
Yeah.
And then they just laid it out to me. And I was just like, they were like, it did not straight away. It's not like you go in there and take a blood test and they give you that. But over the course over the course of the time, they were just like, yeah, this is what it is. And laid it out and just being like, yeah, this is what you were suffering from. And, you know, the medication that I'm on prevent me from going down that way again. Antipsychotics, which are really good.
I'd imagine they're really good, all right.
Yeah, but they're great. But like, isn't it like what people don't get it, or what people think with that condition is they hear it and immediately scary straight away.
Yeah,
terrified, serial killer, murderer.
I hope it's. I would feel though to the more book smart people, or not even books. That's the wrong fucking word. To the more open minded and worldly people at the moment, I definitely think that's changing. if a fucking caveman like me, who literally played the part of somebody called in a show called Defending the Caveman, I love hearing this stuff because this is new knowledge. This is my brain expanding on pop, 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 pop.
Yeah,
I need to know this. I need to know this.
It was like, imagine, right? Your father.
Yes.
You know him.
Yeah.
You could tell details about his face, about his hair, about how his voice sounds, about his accent. Now, what if I told you he doesn't exist? And then everybody else was telling you he doesn't exist. That guy doesn't exist.
That level of reality.
Like, not to that level, but that's the best way I can explain the kind of tilted reality of things that you think were real but are not real, and the finding out of that, and the juxtaposition of being in a position where you know it's not real, yet you remember it. And
Jesus.
it was, and it's just it's very, very, like, it's very weird. Like, it is an extremely weird thing to look at, because people either go, look, well, you're either a serial killer or you're lying or you're whatever. But thing is, none of this has ever benefited me.
Yeah.
And the thing is, this is like,
you're not counting cards in Vegas as a result of this.
Believe me, I'm not. Like, there's no superpower here. Like, I remember Kanye West kind of going, yeah, like, being bipolar is his superpower. I'm just like, shit, can we swap? Because this is shit. This is just like the only superpower I've had is to be able to ruin my life over and over and over again for many, many years.
At no point has one of the voices ever read me out an original fucking best-selling novel that I can fucking write down. Thank you very much.
Yeah, could you tell me the lotto numbers or something? It's just like, no, we're just going to tell you shit that's just going to ruin your life. And it's just like, it's happened to me over and over again, where, like, there's a reason why I'm in my late 30s as a rugby content creator.
Well, Jesus Christ.
Rather than doing a real job.
You're speaking to a stand-up comedian, right?
This is why I know you'll understand. But like, the thing is, like, with the having kind of, ruined my own life over and over and over again, at least now I have a roadmap as to how that happened. Because you're mentally ill.
When you think about it, how many people throughout the country, and what you just described to me there now, I can think of 3 people where I've had not confrontations, but dude, this is not happening. Like, what you think and what you just described, because I didn't have it wasn't in my lexicon, it wasn't in my Rolodex of, let me just look through mental health here, but because I'm not a professional at that. But all 3 times I went, no, something needs to be helped with here, because this is not, like, literally having meltdowns of things that weren't even fucking close to happening. I've had audience members think they heard something that it wasn't heard because it was mistook, or they were just a fucking ignorant American. Fine, but that's amazing. Think you've caught this early doors, like, with modern science, you're probably going to live to 90 odd.
Hopefully. People like me tend not to.
Yeah, well,
that's the stupid thing.
Just don't get a gun license. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? Just
I'll start getting ideas.
But what I'm saying is thank God you caught it early doors, and you were smart. You're fucking smart. So you were able to put it into reverse, go back and go.
I've been undiagnosed with this for the guts of 15 years.
I was going to say that. Early doors. So 15 years.
I'm going back to my
college nearly. What?
College, but even in therapy, I've gone back to when I was a kid, even, because like when I was in school, I mean, things weren't good for me in school.
Right.
Like, I was a relatively nerdy young fellow with glasses who didn't really end up the size I am until secondary school. Not that I'm massively huge or anything, but I was quite small and weedy up until that point. So you kind of end up internalizing a lot of that stuff. And I think people, when they're kids, I think there's a kind of and I have a tendency to go, oh, so what? You got bullied as a kid, so what? Who gives a shit?
Yeah,
it is what it is. Get over it. But the little kid doesn't get over it.
Yeah.
And like what my therapist, who was just an absolute star of a guy. I know people haven't been, like that they have different therapists who've worked out for them or not worked out for them. This guy was unbelievable. So good. he kind of put it to me, because I remember like thinking at the time, kind of going, look, you're thinking about that young kid. If he was in the room in front of you right now, would you be saying, you need to get over it? You need to, like, yeah, people get bullied. You need to get over it. You wouldn't. You'd say, that's really awful. That's happening to you.
Yeah, of course.
How can I help you? And you would. But when you're thinking about yourself, you're going, get over it.
Of course. It's of course, because you're thinking, I got the fucking car insurance to pay. Oh, fucking get your fucking head in gear. Come on, get your head in gear, kid. But like, you would never say to a child. You would never say to a child. You're right.
Like, you remember those movies where there was a dog that the kid loved in the movie, but they can't keep the dog, and it's for the dog's own safety that he's got to go away. And they're throwing rocks at the dog, and they're going, "Get out of here!
Yeah,
I don't love you anymore. Get out of here!"
yeah.
That's essentially what I was doing to myself for nearly 15 years. And it's just when you lead to that situation where you have this untreated thing that's happening, you can end up in deeply unbalanced situations where when things are not the way you want them to be, your mind will come up with a way for them to make it that way. But does it get commutatively worse than compounding on that? So almost like I suppose trauma. Take the cauliflower ear, for instance, given the scenario. It ends up looking like a fucking beaten rasher. Like, you wouldn't eat it if it came out in a plate fried. Hence, as a result of just continuous. And is it the same way with the mind then? If it isn't caught early doors, isn't treated, isn't sorted early doors, it just gets fucking progressively worse. You get into a pattern. So, for example, this is one example that I was able to isolate out. Imagine that you have a bill that you can't pay. It's coming up. And in the late 2000s, when everything kind of went to shit in Ireland, that was quite a common thing.
Yeah.
A bill is coming, those horrible red letters on it, and you can't pay it. This is trouble because you've got rent due as well.
Yeah.
So what do you do? Now we're at a junction point. So there is the point where you do something productive about it, live in denial, or have a magical solution present itself to you.
Oh, Christ.
Where it's inserted into your head that, oh, hang on, no, it's okay. I've got a check that's coming from a job I've done.
Oh, Christ.
I've got a check that's coming. Yeah. And then relief. All you want is that relief.
Yeah. So that's what your brain is looking for. It's looking for
that is a little minor thing, as opposed to being denial. Oh, I'll find something. I have something. It's that, oh, I forgot about that. Oh, that's good. Now I don't have to think about it. But it doesn't come.
Yeah.
Because it's not real.
Holy sweet sovereign Jesus.
That's it at the bottom end.
I can only imagine at the top end where just like relationships, fucking people, and you're going,
I think we hear like the term, somebody is delusional. I was delusional.
Yeah.
In the literal sense of deluded, as in had these ideas that were in my head that were constantly being fueled through my phone.
Yeah. Christ.
Which was the vector point.
Where
things would come to get me out of the situation that I was in. The worse the situation, the more they would come. So now, like, I have cool stuff happen to me all the time with Three Red Kings. It's so cool. But now I have to verify it. I was inside I was in Musgrave Park, right? Afterwards, this is after I got out of the hospital.
Yeah.
I was doing commentary with Dan Mooney, a good friend of mine.
So what year did you get out of the hospital then? Because
I got out of the hospital in a couple of months before the pandemic started. So was it December or January? There was a game on in Musgrave Park anyway. And Limerick Live 95 got me on the radio to cover it. So I arrive in the stadium. At this point, I'm on my meds. Like, I'm on my meds now for nearly a year and a half. And just life has just totally changed for me. Completely changed.
Can only imagine.
Where I have no symptoms at all now, which is fantastic.
Fantastic.
But I arrived in the stadium, and I like to get into the stadiums early. Like, I was there the other day, like at the Munster versus Ulster game in Thomond Park. I was just like, I'm getting into this fucking stadium the minute they let me in.
Yeah.
But I was there freaking out, kind of going, what if I go there and because I've rushed to get to the stadium, I'll be too hot and I won't pass my temperature check going in. So I was just like, shit. So
right.
then I start getting flustered, which is even worse. So I went to the wrong gate, and then the fella there said, I said, I'm here. Where do I get my temperature check? And he's just like, that's down the other end, boy. So I'm walking back down the Cratloe Road, over to the front, under, like it's as you're coming up to Thomond Park from Limerick City, it was underneath.
Yes.
Down there. So I go in anyway, and Yoran's there, and I have to stand in the box, and she comes over, and I'm just like, I'm peppering, because I'm thinking, like, shit. Because like I dressed even relatively light, so I wouldn't get messed up with the temperature.
Yes.
So she comes up anyway, and she does the temperature on me, and she goes, "You're too cold." I was just like, "What?" like that's something you say to a fucking lizard. He shows up and is just like, "No, sorry, you're actually a cold-blooded. You're not a mammal. Sorry, you're gonna have to go to a different door."
Arnold Schwarzenegger when he played Mr. Ice. What? What the hell are you talking about? You're smoking your cigar. I'm like the warmest guy in here.
And she says to the girl at the desk, kind of going, "He's too cold. Can we let him in?" And then she was just like, "Do it again." So they were just like, waited a couple of seconds, and she was just like, "Oh yeah, you're just after getting in at the lower end there." And I was just like, "What the fuck is happening here?" So I was just like, so I ended up back upstairs anyway. They let me in. They gave me because you used to get a lanyard. I never owned a lanyard. I bought a lanyard for this, and the one time I bought it, I didn't need it. They gave me a lanyard that they said, "We will take this back off you at the end of the game. So don't leave without giving us this back."
Man, what a fucking trophy to keep, Butcher.
I know, but sure, I ended up going in anyway, and I walked up to the stadium, and I get in there fierce early. I sit down in the press area, looking out at Thomond Park at the guys warming up, and I was just like, this is fucking class, because I hadn't been back in a stadium since the COVID started.
Yeah.
So I love getting in early, essentially. So I was sitting there back in Musgrave Park now, the Southern Kings were playing. So I sit down, and I'm waiting for the game to start, and people are starting to fan in at this point because crowds are still allowed then. And there's this guy sits down behind me, and he's just like, "Are you Tom?" And I was just like, "I am." He's just like, "Oh, I'm a subscriber to this site. I love this site." And just like, "Oh, geez, thanks very much." And he's kidding him. It's like, "Oh, brilliant, thanks a million." So that's great. So the game goes on anyway, and Dan arrives in late, and we're going down to the last couple of seconds to get the machine working to get the broadcast going. So tension is going through the roof. But anyway, the game goes off without a hitch. Everything goes great. I was worried I'd make a mistake, or because I'd be spaced out of it, I might say something stupid or swear on the air, which I did do. But other than that, like, it went fine. So anyway, as the guy was leaving behind me, after the game was finished, he says, "Can I get a photo with you?"
Right.
And I'm just like, okay. So this is in the place where there was the guy who runs the Munster Twitter account was there. There's other like media fellas there, and this fella's looking to come over and take a photo with me. So I'm just like, take the photo. It's like, hey, and then it's great. And I said, "Dan, you saw that? That happened. Did that happen?" And he was just like, "Yeah, that is it did happen. It did happen." I was just like, "Oh, thank God," because it's like delusions of grandeur.
Yeah. So now you've done. That is the most specific fucking possibility of ever having delusions of grandeur. Did I just have an awesome moment?
Like, did that just happen? And he was just like, it did. And I was just like, okay, good. And I've asked him again since, that did happen. It's like, yes.
So to clarify for myself, and also for people too, if they're going, who needs 7 hours of chatting about this? A Beautiful Mind with Russell Crowe. Are we on the same? Because he had paranoid schizophrenia as well. Yeah. And towards the end, as he saw treatment, he had to ask, are they there? Are they,
it's at
I'm
its
sure
worst,
it was over dramatized.
Well, that was a bit over dramatized.
Yeah.
But at its worst, you have doubts.
Right. Yeah.
Like, doubts that one of my best friend, like, she lives in Dublin, like, to have like a doubt that was she real.
Oh shit! Right.
Because we hadn't seen each other in many years, because she lived up in Dublin and I just hadn't gone back up there. And I was just like, is she real? And it's just like, yeah, okay, she is. No, she is. But it's that doubt that that you don't know yourself, and you don't know what's real, and it's kind of piecing together. I found afterwards the things that I could remember in great detail were real, or were fake. And the things that I could kind of half spotty, kind of like, they were real. So the more detailed I could remember it, the more I was certain that it didn't happen.
Jesus, I mean, the irony of that, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When people that want dates and times off you about things, you're like, and then if it came through clear, you're like, oh Christ, we didn't win that, did we? Because I can remember everything about it.
I can remember literally every single thing that happened in it now. Fuck. So essentially, yeah. So it's like, it was just, it's this really kind of, it's a life ruining thing. It isn't a thing that is positive.
Imagine.
Like, I've seen people who kind of try to own the illness.
Okay.
Look at it like a kind of a badge of honor to a certain extent. I hate it. I wish I didn't have it.
Yeah.
I wish I wasn't this way. Or well, the way I was. Like, so I certainly haven't been that way since. Like, I wish I wasn't that way. Because it's ruined my life over and over and over again. Like, consistently.
Yeah.
Every couple of years in a cycle, build, ruined. Build, ruined. And the time before this, the ultimate time, was after a cycle in the aftermath of another problem. When I came back from Italy, and I was thinking, oh, I'm going to go get a job in Dublin, and I'm going to do it. Oh yeah, I have it. Oh wait, why don't I have the money from that job I did? What's going on? Oh, the rent is due. Oh, I'll get rent from somewhere. I get rent from them. Oh no, I don't have it. Oh, I've got to move out. Oh no, I've got to try and find a place. Oh, I get a place. Don't worry, it'll be fine. You get a place. Oh, you have a place. Oh wait, no, you don't. And you're going to Airbnbs and you're going to all these other places until you have no money, and ended up in a convent.
I remember you telling me about the convent. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was the product. And then from that low point, living in a convent with fucking rats and mice and the whole lot, and lads eating fucking goose fat down the thing, like all these Croatian and Romanian dudes, and they're saying, "Hey, you want this?" And it's just like this plate of fucking slop.
It is.
And I was just like. And I was like, yeah, yeah, I will have it. Because I don't have any money right now. So I'm just like, yeah, I'll have this slop, please. And then from there, creating Three Red Kings. And then to the point then, like a year and a half ago, where it just all came crumbling down again. And it's just like, it's a life-ruining thing. And like, the thing is, like, I'm able to look at it now from a situation where the therapy really worked for me.
Yeah.
The meds really worked for me, but not everybody's that lucky.
That's like what the other thing I was going to say. I don't think it's been. I wonder how tough it is for other people who it ain't fucking working. Maybe they
never got treated. Like, I was lucky enough that mine was so serious that I ended up having to be treated.
That's the thing. Like, I mean, one particular dude I know it's fucking worrying, and it's worse it's getting, and we know it. And but the thing is, he's married to a woman who would seem to be on the same fucking, Jesus Christ, they're both on the same spectrum, would see these phenomenal accusations of like and realities that couldn't have fucking happened. And then,
but to them, they're real.
Oh, absolutely. And then they compound it back and forth with each other. And these stories, and these kind of, it's been related to me, and I'm going, but no, that whole bit in the middle there, I don't. Sorry, did you tell this to somebody else that I should know about? He's like, for fuck's sake, you know what I'm fucking talking about. No, this is really out of left field, and I'm missing a big chunk of your story. What are we talking about? And then he won't fill it back in. I'm going, okay, hell has to happen here, because this isn't fucking right. Like,
and it's like remember that bit from Seinfeld where Constanza is going, "It's not a lie if you believe it."
Yes, yeah.
That's schizophrenia,
right? Yeah.
Where it's you believe these things, and like people think like, some people do have visual hallucinations. I never did.
Right. Okay, yeah.
For me, it was audio hallucinations and memories.
Yeah.
So I would remember a thing. I would never be in a situation where I'm just like, I'm experiencing this right now. It would be the memory of it afterwards.
Yeah.
Like the memory of that I was just walking down to the petrol station there a while ago. But if the memory was that actually, no, you didn't do that. But that's the thing. So it's like you are an unreliable narrator in your own life. And it's again, like, this is not a superpower. This is not a positive thing.
Terrifying.
It's
holy shit,
life-ruining thing that I am just haunted that the medication was able to work for me and the therapy that I had stuck. Because I think a lot of times with therapy, it's, does this make sense to you? And that's why it's such a subjective thing, because different people, like we were able to get to a lot of roots to the things that maybe set me off.
Yeah.
So like for me, it was like Messiah complex.
Yeah.
Wanting to help people so I could be useful.
Right.
And that's how it would start off. That would be the trigger point. So it would start from there, and then that little crack would get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until it was a ravine. And there was just like, how did it get to this point? And it's just a product of thousands of small moments of delusion that tilt you away from it. This is reality. The little line starts here, and it keeps going until you're so far away from it. You're just like, how do I even get back there? So you're looking at these two things, and it's just like, there's no way for this can't be real, but there you are, believing it and having memories of it, but it's not the case.
Isn't it like it's a perfect case to just to point out that so many things that will happen to a child, teenager, whatever, and you end up where you are, and people will ask you how, you could. So many times in fucking interviews, they'll ask me, well, how are you? Why are you the way you are? And in a roundabout way, and I'm going, I have no fucking idea. I've had the weirdest shit in life, and I have no idea why I'm a grown-ass man with a handlebar mustache and a mullet. You know what I mean? I have no idea. Because if I tried to piece it together as a non-professional fucking mental health expert, I can tell you here now, I would make a balls of, because there's been 10 million fucking moves on that. But I've ended up here, and it's in relative control over the scenario that's going on in my head. But just a tiny thing. Two Toms could have been holding hands, swinging through a field, and you went off down into the daisy patch. I went off in over that river, and for some unknown fucking reason, just one thing spun into another, and before you knew it, butterfly effect.
It's exactly, because it's never usually one big thing. It's a combination. Because I used to have a thing before where everybody is 3 bad weeks from having their life fucked up forever. Yeah. And that, but then again, that was only from my own experience of my own life being absolutely ruined within that time period multiple times. So it's just like, well, okay, I have experience of this. Maybe it's not the same for everybody else. But it's just, I do think that mental health is on a scale. I don't think there's anybody who's like, has absolutely perfect bulletproof mental health. I'm sure some people who there are, but I think there's people who are on different scales. Now, maybe not everybody's has gone to the places that I've gone. But again, there's people who have very, very like deep depressions. That's not really me. Like, I don't really get that. I just get manic.
Right. Yeah.
So like for me, it's a different thing. So I'm never really like depressed in the way that I know some people have become depressed or super anxious. I've had that because of the things I've believed, but it's just one of those things that like I think everybody's on that scale where nobody has brilliant mental health. They're just like, oh, that could never happen to me. Just give it time, because there will be things that will push you, and then there will be like, there's in rural Ireland,
oh yeah,
there's lads who go around and who are around the place here who just like the mental health wouldn't be good, but the vocabulary isn't there for it. Exactly.
Yeah. I remember I was working we lived briefly for a time in I suppose it is northwest Kildare, kind of crosses with Offaly and a couple more. And the way so many rural places where you get these blokes in their 50s who were the youngest son, didn't end up getting married because for one reason or another, all the fucking women moved away. You know what I mean? And there's just,
which people just don't get, but it happens.
It does. They all end up being somebody's aunt who lives in Dublin. That's who I'm talking about. Who's a nurse or a teacher somewhere in Dublin. That is what happened. And then there was always dudes left in the village who, for one reason or another, sometimes you'll find that if he's at home with a mother, the mother don't want no fucking new hen coming in the house. No. And that happens. But
it does.
One way or another, these gang of blokes in the local bar to chat, and one guy was sitting there, and I got like the banter train was fucking fast. The shit they gave each other was
fast and vicious.
It was beautiful though. It was beautiful. Like I brought one or two, mates and kind of friends of ourselves, husbands and that, and you're kind of going, you're coming out now from a nice soft area in Dublin. You need to understand that this is going to be fucking intense. But one of the days I went in, and this chap who was there, he was the first man ever to be divorced in Ireland. The first actual official divorce in Ireland, for one reason or another. but he was nearly fucking rubbing the head. And all these other blokes, they were on. And I can't remember, was it Jer or Kev? I can't remember his name, but regardless, they went, "Are you all right? What's up with you? How the fucking depressions are on me again?" And like that, you think, they're a fucking, sit up, will you, fuck. You think that's what would come out of gruff, rural, fucking agricultural men. 3 of them scuttled over as fast as fucking penguins in the fucking would need to huddle for heat. And up they went, fuck that head up on. Tell us all about it now, because the fucking last thing any of us now is to fucking find you on the end of a fucking rope. Come on, the fuck. It was rough, but that's how they spoke to each other. At no point would he have accepted either going, "Hey man," getting all hippie and woo.
Hey, how are you doing?
But the way they did it was fucking beautiful. And he sat back and he went,
way to do it.
It was beautiful. He sat back and went, "Well, I fucking," and it was, and they all 4 or 5 of the guys got each other. It was a fucking beautiful thing to see. It was like, that's fucking class. That is fucking class. You're doing the best with what, and there was no fucking mockery made of him. Do it was exactly what I'd hoped the evolution of this would happen.
I think even because it was authentic and not, kind of, because mindfulness is great, but I find sometimes that the way it's spoken about can isolate a lot of the guys who I know who would need it.
Of course.
Because
it's LA speak, and you're talking about some fella who wears wellies, most of the week.
Or, a guy who walks into the center with shit in his jeans, the majority of the time. It's just like, this guy this guy's not listening to podcasts. He's not listening to somebody saying about mindfulness and CBT and all this other stuff. Like, CBT to him just sounds like a short name for cabbage. So he's just like, you've got to go and meet these guys. Like, that would be perfect, as in, in that setting, to be able to go, "Sure, what's up with you?
Tell us. Tell us.
And and to do that, and it's just I think there's a way for that to be brought on, because hey, look, I'm into all that fucking mindfulness and CBT shit. But I know that there's plenty people would hear that and immediately be like, "That's useless. No, that's no use to me. I don't want to hear any of that stuff." That to me sounds like weakness, because I think a lot of people, their idea of strength is a hatred of weakness. So that leads them into a situation where they will never allow themselves to be seen to be weak in saying, "I have a problem." Yes. And that's where I think a lot of the conversation about mental health, I think, misses, because it's coming at them from the wrong way, in a way that they could never take.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, fuck me. I'm pretty sure there was a period through maybe my early 20s where the idea of this, mental health was like, "Oh, you better fucking pull up your fucking trout." Because
I'd been the same. Attention seeking.
Yeah, you grow up all the time. You're told, well, if you're going to show any fucking weakness, it better be on your fucking jaw. You know what I mean? Or it better be, don't you fucking dare come over. You're fucking crying. You fucking eat.
But that'd be it.
Exactly what I'm talking about.
It is there's a thing, and it's an old video, and I think it's Paddy O'Shea, and he's at a GAA training thing, and he's just like, "I don't want to see no Westmead man fucked out over the sideline like a loaf of bread." That's the way that the majority of people in rural Ireland regard mental health.
Yes, yeah.
I don't want to see no man coming up here talking to me about CBT.
Yeah,
it's like they don't know this stuff, and the thing is, they don't want to know the way it's being framed and the way most people talk about it. It's just like, hey, be weak.
Well, in the same, it's almost in the same sense, like when moving back down here. And I remember I had a couple of friends who have on the podcast, and one is, it was Graham Merrigan. We were talking. It was during. Graham is one of the guys from the WTS, the What's the Story podcast, and he's very much staunch, deeply rooted in politics. And he's from Dublin, from Ballybrack, and he was kind of giving out about. I can't remember his fucking name. He was almost the Irish version of Trump. He was a wealthy Irish American.
I know the dude. Yeah,
Peter, was it Peter or something?
Peter something, yeah.
And he was giving out, for fuck's sake, he's fucking down there, and he's fucking. Look at all these fucking thick cunts down. I said, hold on now. What you don't realize, you think you're disenfranchised because you're from a maybe slightly disadvantaged part of Dublin. Try coming from fucking North Roscommon, and you've 30 acres and they're full of fucking rushes. And then Leo comes on and goes, "So guys, we just really need to get it together. Guys, you know what I mean? as you think you feel disenfranchised. And this guy rocks up and goes, hey, do you know all those fucking cunts that are getting... Yes, that guy was bang out of line, but he went to them. He went to where they fucking live and said, listen, I'm going to fucking get on your... I says, now you can't blame these people because they sure as shit don't even think they're the same fucking race as what's happening up here. Dublin is a fucking another planet.
It's another planet. It really is, and people don't get that. There's the whole thing between the whole people from the city, people who are culties.
Yeah,
like I sound like I can navigate it much easier, but like because I don't really have a massive Cork accent, but like you look at like where I'm from is a small village in rural Ireland, very small village. People don't understand the isolation that can happen here because. What maybe people in big cities and maybe certainly Dublin people don't realize is that like there's been mass migrations of people out of here where I am to Dublin over decades.
Yeah.
And there's people who were there who were here and now they're like the effect of a depopulation of an area. It's got so many different effects. There's fewer kids. There's older people. My biggest fear with my condition is being that crazy old guy who's walking around a village.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that crazy old guy. You know who that crazy old guy is.
Yeah.
Like everybody knows who that is. I don't want to be that guy. Yeah. That's the fear. And it's like, so when it comes to like people in Dublin City, like and like they have a lot of problems there too. Obviously, I mean, I've lived in Dublin. I know what they are. But like in rural Ireland, they're kind of the same. And they're kind of bizarro world versions of what's happening in Dublin, where because people are leaving, there's no reason for anything to be here.
Yes. Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's a huge problem that way. Because I remember I have Dermot's in my mentions going on about why are Munster not producing more rugby players? And it's just like, well, because there's fewer people here.
Have you looked at the surnames on some of the Leinster players? I wonder where their parents came from. Have you looked? Like you got Ryan's showing up all over the fucking place.
Kieran Frawley,
yeah,
right? Kieran Frawley, who plays for Leinster. I think both his parents, his mother's from Cork, his father's from Clare.
Yeah,
his father's a huge rugby Munster fan apparently, and he's in Dublin playing for Leinster.
Yeah.
And Tyke Furlong, his mother, out from Whiddy Island over the road in Bantry.
Even Tyke Byrne, yes, he is a Munster player now, but by way of getting fucked out of Leinster, essentially, because I didn't think he was good enough. But
he's delivering pizzas.
His old lad was from Care, I think, or his mother's from Care.
It's weird, but it's just one of those things where people don't really understand the migrations that have left and how that affects rural Ireland. Because, like, in the village where I am, back in the 90s, 1890s, or the 80s and 90s, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pubs.
Yeah.
A small village, maybe 1,000 something people live here. 6 pubs, but there was way more people back then, so it was able to support it. Now only 2 of those are open.
Yes,
and like there's 2 of them are in literal ruins. So it's like that happens because people they just leave, they just go because there's nothing here. So it's just one of those things where that isolation, it's built into living in rural Ireland.
It's funny, since we've moved back, I've gotten phone calls like the boy is he's not even 2 yet. He's 21 months. I've gotten phone calls from 2 GAs and 2 rugby clubs, Clanwilliam and Kilfeakin. So
put them into the rugby for fuck's sake.
They're just trying to get, but it's fresh meat. They're like, this is fucking brand new babies showing up. This is fucking what we need.
Yeah, it's a bit like, do you know the film Children of Men?
Yeah.
It's a bit like that with the GA.
It literally is like, oh no, he'd be going into the rugby. I mean, you could see by him, he's like, yeah, no, it's just got big old hands. And
I just want to run into people and be violent.
Yeah, you can see it, and he would be like, he wouldn't have had. I don't know if he'll have the taste in this for hurling. I think smashing things would be more up his street. So it'd be,
I think with rugby, with crowds coming back from next season, I think that people have a lot of internal violence that they will let out in audio form.
The Purge.
It'll be like the Purge in the stands.
Just that siren goes up. Just close the fucking gates, lads. I wonder rugby will be fine, but I wonder, like, when you see, Premiership football coming back, like, is it going to be fucking, are they going to have to up the security? Because lads are just going to go buck wild.
I think that the pandemic has literally, it's made people way more feral than what they would have been normally if the world had progressed as normal without the pandemic. I think coming back, people are going to be feral once they get into situations where they can have normality, like South William Street.
Yeah.
Up and down.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
All the lads.
The lads, you're like, oh, for fuck's sake. Like, have you not seen what Cork do? They fucking don't let us see that
Keep
shit.
it in-house.
They keep
Phones
it
get
in-house.
snatched.
Jesus Christ. They put that blanket ban that Kanye is able to do over the whole, and Dave Chappelle is able to do over the whole fucking crowd.
The internet gets blacked out.
Everything gets blacked out. Shut it the fuck down. Just get guys in fucking black uniforms just coming through, just taking all your phones.
Although, do you know what I miss from when I was younger? Those nights when you were out and it would get hairy.
Oh, yeah. It'd get
Maybe it's just because I'm bald, but when you get those hairy nights where shit's happening,
yeah,
there's a kind of a smell of chaos in the air. What the fuck is going on here? I remember
Cork City used to get a bit tasty, like back in the mid 2000s, early 2000s.
Oh, jeez, it did.
It used to get fucking, and I loved that. I fucking loved like the sense of war was coming. You're like, I fucking wouldn't mind a fucking scrap now if it did happen. Like, you know,
in Bandon, there's a nightclub, or was a nightclub called Tramps.
Yes.
Every provincial town had one of those clubs that had one of those names. In Clonakilty, it was the Boiler Room.
Would you believe it? In a past life, when this jersey fitted me, I was a fucking tank. I bounced on the Boiler Room. I was a I was a tank.
You did?
Yeah.
When was this?
This is early 2000s. I think it was. What's it called? The Boiler Room. It was Clon. It was
Clon.
It was war every night. Fucking war. Like, it was carnage. And the strongest skinny cunts you've ever seen in your life. Like, lads, lead turning up, not weighing 8 stone soaking wet, smell of silage off him. But you knew by the look of the fucker, he had that country strength. You're going, man, he's going to be fucking
We're going to have trouble here. Yeah. I remember in Tramps in Bandon, there was a guy.
What a fucking name.
It was hairy. And it was one of those things where there was no drink allowed in there. So, like, everybody, everybody was drinking, obviously. At this stage, you go into the bar, like, the whole idea of ID checking was just like, yeah, okay. Sure. But, like, you'd go in there, you'd be getting locked, you'd show up at Tramps. And I remember one night, I was there with my then girlfriend, fucking 16 or 17, thinking you're the fucking man.
Of course.
The biggest brawl I've seen outside Tramps with the bouncers and everybody, like a crowd of people, around maybe 20 or 30 people, just lacing into each other. And it all kind of started a bit like, those zombie movies where somebody gets bitten and then it starts spreading.
Yeah.
It was a scrap started off in the queue and then it just spread out and radiated out. And it had everything. It had girls screaming, it had guys shouting, it had bouncers waiting, punches, the whole lot. It's just like, oh, it was so good. And it's just like, I know now I'm in my coming up in my late 30s now, but it's just like, I miss those days of going out where things could be hairy. So when I saw South William Street, and it's just like, geez, that was a bit hairy. It's like, I wouldn't have minded being there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have minded.
Even for me, I'm looking at it going, fucking amateurs. That's not fucking war. That's not fucking
Nobody
war,
even threw a fucking keg.
Jesus Christ. You didn't turn over one single fucking chippy van. I remember they did that one night. This gang of fucking lads showed up from another town. And I remember they were either foreign lads or bounced, but the one guy that brought me down, he was another guy that worked on the building site I was on. And it was just some handy extra cash. And it was, in fairness, there wasn't too much trouble. Most of the units, if you asked them to leave, you didn't, you're kind of going, man, you're fucking full. You're like, I'm fucking full. And, they would leave, and trouble would only happen once. This fucking group of lads showed up out of nowhere from Tothertown, so they showed up in Springfield over from fucking
Shelbyville.
And there was no flick lines or clicking of fingers. Just this fucking group of lads got on the wire. They came up out of the club. Doors were closed behind them, and we just stood there as spectators. And this fucking carnage. You're talking about young lads, but with the strength of modern day fucking MMA fighters. Do you know what I mean?
And these lads were just out for, like, I was trying to explain to a female friend of mine about this, where guys will go out some nights, they are looking for a fight.
Yeah.
They want to get into a fight.
Yeah.
And it's just like, look, obviously it's not the best for mental health or whatever else. Your mental health can't be that good if you're doing this, but they do it. Yes. And it's like the idea of like that Like, and like I remember there was friends of mine. I remember they were just one night they were just spoiling for a fight, spoiling for a row. I went out looking for it, and when you go looking for it, you find it. That's the good thing. That's the good thing about a fight. You'll always find it if you go out looking for it hard enough. And it was just like it's just one of those things. I remember when I was on in Allihies, I went over there camping when I was in like 19 or 20, and just lads getting real messed up on drink over there. And you had the lads fucking descending down from the mountains around Castletown Bear and fucking Benchit. Not the lads living in the fucking farmer's market.
No. Hello, Tristan. Tristan, is that you? Oh my God. Wow. Yeah, nice. Yeah.
The guys who survive. They have spicy wedges.
Finbar
and Mihal are coming down.
Coming down the mountain. The sort of lads that would have shot Michael Collins. That's what you're telling me, basically.
Oh, geez, no, like as in, but like from down around here, Michael Collins was only shot up the road.
Of course, yeah.
I'm only down the road from Bale na Blah. And there's all the rumors around the place about the fella who actually shot Michael Collins.
Yeah, because
buried somewhere around here.
Really? Have you ever come across Paddy Cullivan?
No.
Paddy Cullivan is a musician with the Camembert Quartet from the Late Late Show band.
Yes,
but Paddy does these brilliant. He did one a stage show, and it's a fantastic produced show about Secret Life of Wolf Tone. You know, who killed Wolf, and now he's done one Who Killed Michael Collins, and because he's such a good, musician as well as singer, but you would very much enjoy the show because he's literally talking, and he will do a thing to the nth fucking degree. Just like yourself, he will go deep diving. Do you know what I mean? But throw in an old song as well.
It's crazy. Like down around here, like there's rumors of the guy who did it, and that he's buried somewhere. Like there's a grave, around here somewhere, and it's just like. It's crazy. All that kind of history just kind of happened right there. And then when you kind of hear all the kind of the clown show that happened after Michael Collins was shot. Yeah. You hear about that? Where they were just like they were trying to drive the car through a field, but then the car got stuck.
Yeah. It was a shit show. Like, lads, come on.
They didn't put that in the film.
No, they didn't fucking not. No, Julia Roberts wouldn't have signed up if there'd been that much fucking silliness. But yeah, I mean, sure, listen, moving back here, it's openly known that they were with the lads in Bale na Blah around here, like, because I literally out at my parents' front gate, there's almost a fucking monument to Liam Lynch, like, and all these lads, and you're going, all right. Yeah, they were like 26 wasn't enough. Should have gotten them all. That stupid bastard. Fuck.
But like, like there was a guy, I remember I was hearing about this, like Dan Breen.
Yeah.
You know Dan
local
Breen.
To here, yeah.
He'd be a local around there. And I remember like hearing nothing but big stories about Dan Breen growing up, about how great Dan Breen was. No, Dan Breen is this, that, and the other. But Dan Breen was a fucking psycho, and he was.
Yep.
But
I love how you can say it with more affirmation than me. It's like I can say it was like, "Come on now, Tom." But Tom Savage says it's like, "This is." I think I know what I'm talking about.
But he had, like, as in his story was just like unbelievable. Like I found out more about it, but like then I kind of heard like he was kind of fierce into the Nazi stuff around that time, and it's just like it's not a surprise though, because
yeah.
But he's one of those guys, and I think there's still a lot of those lads who are in Ireland, who it's just unfortunate for them that they do not have a war at the moment, because they have this inherent madness and violence and craziness in them, that for a guy like Dan Breen to be told, hey, we need you to kill some people, Dan. Yeah. And he's just like, no problem.
Absolutely no problem.
And like people think, oh, that kind of person just disappeared. It disappears when there's no grand war to do.
No, it does that. I'm telling you, that shit is genetic. Like. That shit is genetic. There are warriors that are just, they can't help it. And they just, as you said, like they're just walking around stomping, going, I fucking need a war. I need a fucking war right now.
It's like, why is this fella brawling on a night out? Probably because every gene in his body is telling him he needs to be fighting. But he is not. And it's just mental health. And
maybe we could answer the Dermots by that. Just go, you know what we'll do? Start getting these guns into rugby. Getting them into rugby. You can fuck shit up legally out there. Literally, this is your Vietnam. Get out there.
You know that fella in the town. You know that guy who everybody kind of avoids. He should be playing rugby.
Yeah,
that guy.
Yeah.
It's like some of the fellas who I've seen walking around. I have a pet theory that people are getting bigger.
Oh, they are. Oh no, they want. That is official. That was when we had the young fella, because I went because they were saying, oh, he will be taller than you regardless. I went, oh, because Natasha's brother's a touch. She goes, oh, no, just modern nutrition and the environments that they live in. Like a fishbowl, like you live in the country now, he will get bigger here, like, and he will be bigger than you just because of modern nutrition. And already he's fucking 3 foot. It's like, oh, I see. Great.
Like, I've seen lads walking around the place who are 14 or 15, looking like grown fucking men.
Yeah.
Walking around the place and just like, what in the name of God is going on here?
Yeah. What happened to all the fucking children? Where are you gone? How's it going? Like, oh Christ. You
like I'm 5'10" and a half, right? 6'1" togged out, we'd say.
Yeah,
right?
Of course, in your heels.
Yeah, I would have been a guy playing the flank.
Yeah.
Right, back row, no bother. I'd be lucky to be a wing now.
Yeah, because you get eaten alive. You get
eaten alive.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen R.G. Snyman in person. Mother
of God.
That guy is a different species.
He is, but that Dutch thing. A friend of mine, he's 4'10". We were doing the panto in Limerick, and we were allowed at the time. Now, I was one of the few casts that didn't stay on campus. And where they put them up are these stunning apartments right beside the Centre of Excellence for Munster. What do they call it? The
High Performance Centre.
High Performance Centre. But the lads had a green light to go. So shoot, they use any of the facilities you want. Obviously, but use the swim pool. And my mate Richie was over, and he knew nothing about rugby. He'd live in he was a singer. He's a performer. These people don't give a fuck about sports. This is their sport, has been in the theatre. But he'd been given over. And he was like, the fuck are they fucking feeding them pricks over there? What are you talking about? Who? Oh, fuck, you ran into a rugby player. He goes, ran into him. I'm not joking with you. He's cock hit my forehead. I said, who was he? He goes, I don't know, it's down to South African. And at the time it would have been John Klein. I went, oh, Christ, he's like 6'7", 6'8", 6'9". What the fuck? He goes, I know. His cock was right there. I didn't know where to look, and then he was being polite because he knew I was in the panto. And he had, and it's like, oh, but it was like this meeting of two worlds that should have never met.
Different species of people.
Different species of people, literally.
I remember, I was doing an ad thing in Thomond Park, and I met John Klein on the way back in Cork, and I was just blown away by just the literal size of this guy and how he made me feel like a small little child, a little baby man.
Just a mass of human. Like, it's not just tall. It's mass.
Now there's lads over in the tennis court over here who are kicking a ball and throwing a basketball. I'm just like, what? These guys are 14. And like, the guys look like they're 6'2", 6'3", and it's just like, what in the name of God is going on?
Tom, remember those frozen pizzas? Those mini frozen pizzas?
Yes.
That, they had the nutritional value of the same bag they came in. And we loved those as kids. They were not helping us grow. Kids nowadays are eating shit that helps them grow. You know what I mean? Like, they're eating, there's probably some GMO in it too, just saying. But they're eating healthy shit. And there's actually a conscious level to actually, there's the piss we were eating, like Angel's Delight. Guarantee you that has taken 10 years off all our lives. That was like smoking 20 a day.
It's like, what's in Angel Delight? It's like, I couldn't tell you. I could tell you that it tasted nice.
Yeah, it was delightful, and I felt angelic. That's all I know. I've had this stuff since in recent time on a TV shoot. We were filming a thing, and they had Angel's Delight for this retro moment, and I went, "Oh, the butterscotch! I used to love that." Fuck me, burn everything, burn my head.
Why does this taste like poison?
Why does this taste like fucking sadness? This is it was disgusting, but it was my hummus and avocado palate now. Couldn't deal with this shit.
Ruined avocado toast. It's why I don't have a house, and it's why I can't enjoy Angel Delight.
It's why you have to give up the cocaine. I know.
my dad is shorter. I ended up being much taller than my father. He's around 5'3", but he has a theory as to why he was short.
Thanks.
Because he played in a country and Irish band when he was younger. When he was 13,
okay,
he was in a band. And he reckons because he didn't get any sleep, he turned from being somebody who should have been my height into somebody who was his height. And he resents it. He was out playing every night, earning money.
Yeah,
for you.
That's that's a pretty good fucking rock. When other kids were dicking about, he's in a pub playing fucking music. Come on.
Out in the dance halls of the day, going around the place playing the country and Irish songs. Everybody's playing the same music, going around. Yeah, tell you what, I wish I had slept more. I resent that I'm not taller, because it would make it easier to not be bald.
Yeah, I mean, well, then you end up doing stupid shit with your hair, like Nick growing, cutting a mullet in. Like there's
It actually looks good. If I could grow a mullet and it's the only hair I could grow, I would grow a mullet. I hate being bald.
Yeah, you've got a great shaped fucking head though.
I'm lucky enough, but the thing is, my head looks okay from the front. My problem is I've got an alien head.
Have you? Give us a look.
Way wider.
That's
look at the
bad.
fucking size. Look at the size of it.
No, I've seen Sigourney Weaver try and hunt down some of my friends. Are you fucking joking me? That's not bad.
But there are guys who've got it looks like they've got a face in the back of their head because of the way their skull is back there.
Yeah,
that is not a good look.
And I've got two really bad dents and a really bad dent on this side, and it looks fucked up. Like we're talking tectonic plate shit. Like when I do shave my head, so it's scared. Small children get scared and stuff. So it's not all that, but I think he's right about the sleep thing, because our chap is growing at a fucking rate of knots, and I couldn't say this to you because you're not a middle-aged mother. He sleeps 13 hours a night, solid every night, and sleeps 2 hours of a nap. I had to wake him up this morning. I had to go down to him at 9:30. So
he's going to be 6'10", this dude.
He's already 3 foot at 21 months, and he's just waking up, hair up on the side of his head. He's like, "The fuck are we getting up for?" I'm like, "Cause it's fucking all hours of the day. Come on, get up." And he's like, "All right, I suppose I'm up."
He'll be pulling you out of the bed by the time he's 4 years of age.
It's ridiculous.
Get out of here.
But I said this on stage briefly when I was a night. We were on a lineup with myself, Deirdre Kane, and I can't remember who else was on with it. Sharon Mannion, and there was a lot of wine drinking ladies of their mid-40s, and I was talking. I went, "I don't know what the fuck you're all bitching about. Kid won't fall asleep. Stop being dickheads. Your kid's going to be..." I just poking the bear for the fucking laugh. And people chuckled along a bit. It was some new material I was trying on it, whatnot. Came off. Show went fine. At the end of the show, Deirdre came over to us. "I'm going to give you a word of advice there. Get out of the property right now, because there'll be going to be an onslaught of wine-riddled fucking mid-40-year-old women who hate you right now because your child sleeps. I'm just telling you." And she was right. Before I got anywhere, at least 3 or 4 women came over to us. "So what age?" And like that, they went after me for fucking but that's the time people grow, is when they're sleeping. Like I said, ain't no rocket surgeon, but apparently you grow when you sleep.
Children these days sleeping too often. They weren't out painting sheds at the age of 2 years of age like I was.
Inhaling fumes from that paint. Yeah.
I'm getting to the point now of geriatric millennial where I can start saying that everybody has it soft except me.
Stop fucking pesky
Everybody
kids.
had it soft except me.
I'm
the hardest done by.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, did I tell you what? Did you see that video? It was of a Munster press conference of a few weeks back.
I may have. Was it with Graham Rowntree?
It was with Graham Rowntree. It was one of the first kind of half viral videos where I was there when it happened.
Which bit?
There was a bit where it was one of those press conferences for doing players and coaches, which are like, I don't like. I love being involved in them because it gives me validation for the job that I've chosen to do. But the actual things themselves, like, it's just, people ask questions and there's a generic enough all answers or whatever else in this brand. So we were all talking away, and like it's like this. It's like Microsoft Teams. So whenever you talk or whatever, you have your video on or whatever.
Yeah.
I learned early on, take your video off. 1, it slows down the audio for everybody else. But 2, if you've got to go do anything or something like that, you can just fuck off and do it. You don't have to be just like, "Oh, I'm turning it off now and making it look like something's going on." Other people haven't learned this lesson. So we were doing the Microsoft Teams things. It was going, and it was getting onto the embargoed section for the press conferences, which is where you cannot reveal any of this stuff on the internet until it's been in the papers. They will get very sniffy.
Right. Yes.
They will get very sniffy if you do this, because I did this before and got called up on it immediately.
What did you release?
oh, well, there was a press conference around the start of the year. And I remember I up until this point, had not been involved in these pressers. I had been allowed into the games in the press area, which I thought was just great. Like, what a scam for me to be allowed in the press area. But getting into the press conferences, that had never happened for me, not while, pre-COVID, because I wasn't in Limerick. So when I was allowed in onto these, everybody's now doing these virtual ones. It's great. So I'm allowed in. I'm allowed to ask questions. It's great. It's cool. I use the audio on my site. It's brilliant. So I had the audio on myself for a lot longer, but this is the first time I'd been actually involved myself. So anyway, when you're on there, you can see all the journalists coming up, like Jerry Thornley and all these other dudes are showing up there. It's like, oh fuck, that's Jerry Thornley, and it's just like you're looking at it. So that's all cool, seeing all these people in person. So anyway, I'd been on this now for a number of months at the stage. They're just kind of boring, that you just do them, you get them out of the way. Everybody has this attitude of, well, I'm just getting this out of the way kind of thing. So everybody's doing it. So anyway, there's this guy, and I don't know what his name is, but he's on there, and like people who are listening to this in audio now won't be able to see it, but he has a look where he's kind of like this in the camera, where he's right up next to the camera, right? So he's talking away, and you can see him waiting. So it gets onto the embargo section. Now, I made the mistake of somebody had said something about John Hodnett, who's down from around here, West Cork Mafia. He's somebody who they said could well be involved in European Cup rugby. So I'm excited about this. I'm like, oh shit. And I tweeted out. And then I get pulled up by someone from a rep from the Rugby Writers Association. Got on to the press officer like that, saying that's embargoed. So I'm just like, I deleted it. It's just like, sorry, I wasn't concentrating.
Yeah.
I fucked up, whatever. So anyway, that was one of those things. You tweet something from an embargoed section, whatever. They won't be happy. So anyway, this is going on and on and on for a number of months. So anyway, we have my guy here who's right up here. Like
against the cat.
And he's very, very close. So it's getting onto the embargo section, and he's in the middle of quite a long and rambling question to Graham Roundtree, Graham Roundtree is the soundest fucking dude.
He's so polite
doing these things. He is the nicest guy going. I remember he put me over so much on one of those live things where I was just like, hi Graham, Tom here from TRK. He's just like, what? The Tom?
Brilliant. Like, I think I heard that one. Yeah, I was.
It's just like,
but he's like with the lads from Potholes and Penguins as well. He's so fucking genuine. It's ridiculous. Like,
oh, he's a great guy, and great character, great way about him. Fantastic coach. So anyway, when you ask Graham a question, his answers are usually like fairly like, I remember asking him one time about something that Stephen Larkham had said about the young forwards, and he was just like, well, what would he know about forwards?
Yeah.
What would he know about that? Joking away, kind of stuff, great stuff. Anyway, this guy was asking quite a long way question. And again, he was right up here. And as he's talking away, you can see a cat starting to walk across the screen right in front of the camera. And doesn't he catch the cat and fuck the cat over his shoulder mid-sentence? And I'm looking at this going, what the fuck is happening here? And he just continues on. And the best thing was, this was recorded and it ended up being leaked out afterwards. I'm not sure how it ended up getting leaked, because this was one of the times where there wasn't a whole lot of people on the call because there'd been a whole problem letting people into the room for whatever reason because of an update with Microsoft Teams. So the one time the video had been sent around to everybody, this happened on it. And there was a guy who was in the thing as well. And you won't be able to see this if you're listening it on audio. But when this happened, the guy saw him. He was like, because Microsoft Teams, there's the guy in the big picture, and then there might be two people, and your man just kind of has a reaction where his eyes just kind of go like that. He's just after seeing what the fuck happens, and I was just like, I was there for this, and it ended up going kind of somewhat viral on Facebook, because I think somebody had gotten it to Barry Murphy in Potholes and Penguins. And ended up going viral for a bit on Facebook or whatever else. Tremendous, getting the cat just fucking it over his shoulder.
Answer him? Did he get to answer him?
I don't think Graham even actually spotted what happened, because he finally got to the point of the question. It was a long enough, all rambling old question. Didn't really make a whole lot of sense. But like by the time he got to the end of it, everybody was just like, "What the fuck just happened there?" And I'm thinking, did that happen? Do I need to take my fucking pills again?
No, fucking. Did everybody see that cat? Oh, thank Christ! Thank
Christ. My God, we're okay. We're okay. I was nearly on the phone over to the hospital again.
Can't let you go anywhere without asking you, because I mean, Jesus Christ, there's players. Nobody knows more about fucking rugby, Irish rugby, especially Munster rugby, especially than you. No hope of the fucking Rainbow Cup. Fucking Ospreys did us no favors.
Yeah, they didn't know.
What's after happened to fucking Benetton? Test those cunts for fucking steroids. There's something fucking ridiculous. Hold on, lads. All of a sudden, you're getting fucking your trousers pulled down forever, and they bring out the Rainbow Cup. Are they not testing for this or something? What the fuck? Or is nobody taking them seriously?
Well, in my kind of wankerish kind of rugby stuff over the year, I was saying that Benetton are probably the best 0-win team I'd ever seen
Right,
in the Pro 14 all season long.
All for code, no nicknames.
In fairness as well, they did have a much lighter schedule than Munster, for example.
Yeah,
like
okay,
they played Zebre twice, which was 10 points for them. I mean, Zebre are better than what people think they are as well, but like, you know, that ended up being a great start for them. So 10 cheap enough points there.
Yeah.
And then from there, you know, Connacht shut over, and again, I think Munster would have beaten Connacht if they hadn't, given them 14 points for absolute free. But yeah, other than that, like, it's a disappointing end to the season with no trophy. But I think it was Johan van Graan was saying it the other day. This has just been a mad season. Like, every tournament that everybody was in changed format at least once before the time was finished.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're going to have 4 Champions Cup games. Actually, no, you're only going to have 2. There's going to be a double-legged quarterfinal. Actually, there's not going to be that. There's going to be around the 16. It was just very, very difficult.
We're going to change some rules to the actual game that you train all your life. We're going to change some of those rules too, by the way. Just if that's okay.
Now there's a captain's challenge. So we'll spend the majority of the game like it's fucking CSI referee. The fella fucking looking at it and kind of going, did that bounce off his arse or was that off his hand?
Yeah.
And it's just like, let's get into the detail on this, lads, and make sure we're making the right decision.
I hadn't picked up on the absolute bollocks it was dragging out around until one evening. Like, it was Billy Holland was standing there and he was like, being interviewed after match. He goes, "It's dark. Jesus Christ, we're not there about 4 hours, have we? What's going on?" I've never heard a player reference how long they've been out the pitch before.
I think with the game as it is, I think the more people that we can get in from West Cork or from different areas, I think the better it'll be for the game in the country. I think the likes of a Gavin Coombs, who is the biggest bull of a young fella I've ever seen.
And the genetics they must have, like, aren't his first cousins the lads who are rowing?
Yeah.
Those fucking legendary rowers. Jesus Christ, get some of those chromosomes, lads.
These boys, I remember watching Gavin Coombs when he was playing with Bandon Grammar, and the size of this dude then, and like seeing him coming up since, like, it's no surprise at all. Like, I remember writing an article a couple of years ago about this guy saying, like, this guy's the fucking truth, this fella.
Yeah.
And he is an animal. Like, some of the stuff he was doing this year, like, it was the coolest shit. Like, rugby,
coolest shit ever. Like,
is that you do
offloads
cool
and everything.
shit
You're like
playing rugby.
Yeah.
I think it was actually the game I was at live. It was one of the coolest bloody things I've ever seen live in a rugby game, where right down behind you there on the screen, he picked a ball off the back of a scrum and then just ran through 3 or 4 fellas right up to the try line with lads hanging off him. And it's like, this is the coolest thing I've seen on this pitch in some time. And it was a sickener. There wasn't one fucker there except cardboard cutouts in the crowd looking at it. Coolest shit going. And then you have a lad like John Hodnett as well, fella from Ross Carbery, over the road. There's lots of these lads.
He reminds me a lot of a young Sean O'Brien. He can shift like him. Only he's got a better sidestep than Sean O'Brien had. He can fucking move, man.
He is a tough fucker as well, that guy.
Yeah.
I remember I bumped into him after this game, and this was the game after the guy took the photo with me, which did happen.
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to confirm that.
And that was the game where he scored a try and made a fantastic break in the first half, where I swore live on the radio, kind of going, after he made a break in the first half, and was just like, oh shit.
There needs to be more of that. How much more would you listen to the radio if it wasn't just these, if people were genuinely going, sweet Jesus Christ. Because everybody loves the way the Aussie guys do it. You know what I mean? They're just like, saying the damn hand, he's more dangerous than climate control. All right. It's ridiculous. But I think people should be left off the leash. Nobody's getting insulted when somebody goes, oh shit.
Yeah, I'm a fan first. Like, and the thing is, I am biased. Like, I let, like, right at the front door. Look, I have my opinions. I try to be fair, but I am biased, and I know I'm biased. Yeah. So when like those moments at the game where I see somebody doing something cool, I can't stop going, whoa, fucking, like I love that stuff. But meeting John Hodnett after that game, he's just very softly spoken guy, but just the air, the toughness of him.
Yeah.
That there's a tough fucker here. This is the guy he probably would have been shooting the likes of Michael Collins back in the day.
If he didn't have that, he'd be out there fucking looking for a scrap. Them fellas need that war.
They do. And there's a couple of more of these lads coming up as well from West Cork. The mafia is getting bigger. There's a lad here, Cian Hurley, coming up. He's 6'5". He's a back row player. He used to play in South Africa. He was a young fella, he's like his parents are Irish. He grew up in South Africa, moved here, and he is a tough boy as well. Another fellow I think is going to be a big player for Munster going forward.
Christ, how big is that Keenan Knox?
Keenan Knox is like a fridge with eyes.
He's unbelievable.
Have you seen this guy in person?
No, I haven't. I can't wait to see him in person.
I was at a game in Cork, I think it was, and I happened to be walking in at the same time as himself and as Ben Healy, a tip man.
Yeah,
he's another huge fella.
He's a big man. Yeah,
big dude. I was walking in at the same time into the press area because I was thinking I'm going to walk down through the fucking tunnel. I'm not going walking on the back. I'm going to go through the fucking tunnel.
Fucking right you are. Yeah.
And I did, so I walked in through the tunnel. They get into it because I had to go in and get the fucking good chicken curry sandwiches before Donald Lenihan fucking nabbed a lot of them. So I went in there to get him. When I was coming back out, I was thinking, I'm going to come back out the fucking tunnel now as well. I'm not going to run the back. So I go out.
Did you raise your arms at any point too? Oh, come on.
When I was coming out of the thing, I was yeah.
Just virtually high-fiving kids.
Pointing up into the stands of imaginary people and just like, yes, there you are. We did it. So I was coming out through the tunnel anyway. As I was coming around, Keenan Knox was one of the travelling reserves for that game. And this was a year or two ago, so he's bigger now.
He's bigger again, yeah.
He walked out, and it's like, again, it's a bit like if you can imagine a wardrobe kind of falling down the stairs, but in control.
Yeah.
And it's just like, how is this
like
guy this
Beauty and the Beast, the wardrobe that could actually really dance.
and fuck you up.
Yeah, fuck you.
It's like, this guy,
scrummage like a fucking champ.
He is like a huge human being. Other guys are tall, and that's very impressive. But like, I'm about the guys who are like fucking wide.
Yeah. I want to be able to play handball off my fucking rugby players.
These big fucking guys here who you could be just like, how is this guy this huge, this wide? He is so huge. And he's a young fella now next year. Roman Salanoa is another massive human being as well. I saw him there.
There's no surprise with the Hawaiian and Polynesian lads sometimes because you're like, Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Like, I've seen The Rock.
I'd be surprised.
I've seen The Rock.
I'd be surprised if a kind of a Hawaiian guy and he wasn't huge. I'd be just like, well, why aren't you huge? You should be huge. Why are you not?
What happened? Yeah.
Like, this guy is they call him the Big Oos. He is fucking huge, this dude. And it's like, that's the cool thing about rugby. Big guys running around slapping meat. Meaty men slapping meat.
Who doesn't want to see slapping meat? Just the sound of slapping meat, like, yeah.
Everybody's going on about, like, I want to see, like, passing and running rugby and all this other kind of stuff. Big, meaty men slapping into each other over and over again. That's what I want to see on a rugby field.
That sound of flesh hitting flesh. Bang. At full fucking tilt.
Like, if I only want to see the ball moved out wide, if it means that somebody's going to run into a bigger collision. That's the coolest shit about rugby. I'm like, I see all this stuff about attacking patterns and all that, and I have to cover this for work. But what gets me is big dudes. How big is that dude?
Absolutely fucking.
How big is that dude?
Yeah.
Like, let those dudes bash into each other and just do it over.
We're all fans of wrestling from the 90s, for Christ's sake. It's the same thing. We just want to see giant. We need to see more long hair. Actually, I think more long hair, more ravishing fucking Rick Rude. If all rugby players had my mustache right now, just smashing fucking each other up, we should maybe bring in the Captain's Challenge. Bring in fucking elbows. Allow elbows. Maybe we put a rope around the whole fucking pitch, and lads
I think that there's a whole generation of Irish guys around your age and my age who are heavily, heavily influenced by wrestling from 1998 to 2001, and that has been a very formative experience in their life. And it has
we had Bernard Jackman on telling us about his worst gig ever for the Tom and Jerry show, and Jerry McBride, a Waterford Whispers writer, my mate for the show, on the show, and we Bernard on, and beforehand or afterwards, I should have said it to him before. Jerry claims to not know anything about sport, so he's just going along with this fantastic story he told us about the wheels coming off the fucking wagon with Grenoble, but afterwards it's like, I should probably know about. I said, no, all you need to know is they're the modern day wrestlers. They're just giant dudes. There's some cool personalities starting to come to the fore now as guys are getting cooler in front of the camera. Some cool shit is getting said. Plus, guys get to smash each other for real, and there's blood. They're fucking massive, muscly dudes. Sometimes you see, like, Etzebeth turns up, and he's like the fucking Undertaker. Basically, he's just got the biggest pipes in the fucking... He's Hulk Hogan. He's got the biggest pipes in all of fucking World Rugby.
The vast majority of my success with Three Red Kings is because of professional wrestling. The vast majority.
I think we've gotten to the fucking bottom of it, people.
All of the gimmicks that I have used successfully on Three Red Kings are from wrestling. Just Another Win from the Bad Guys is taken from the NWO from the 1990s.
Yes. Yeah.
I literally used the NWO music, or did up until recently, from my main podcast. But if you think about it, back then, it was the coolest shit going. And now I've looked back in it since, and look, it's still cool to me, but I could see why people wouldn't think it was cool now.
Yeah.
At the time, this was the coolest shit. And if you look at like the things that are successful on social media, the entire world today is pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Donald Trump was pro wrestling.
Pro wrestling. Trash talking. You're just, they've got Mean Gene beside him. He's talking to the fucking at the pulpit. It's the same fucking thing. It's like, all pro wrestling.
Piers Morgan and guys like him, they run heel gimmicks on social media, and they make money using the same way that people do it. Like, it's the biggest. And I think a lot of the stuff that I've done, what I've been doing, like on social media, is based on wrestling.
Yeah,
I try to get catchphrases over, because if you get catchphrases over,
there you go.
T-shirts.
There you go. Just Another Win. What was the fucking? Because I will actually I'll put the link purely so people can see your extra page of all your T-shirts. The fucking, even if you're not a rugby or a Munster fan, some of the phrases are absolutely. Well, there's a great one of a burger, and it's like, nobody wins scrums.
Oh, we don't win scrums with salads.
Yeah, fucking beautiful.
There was like the stuff like with the West Cork Mafia, that's all wrestling influence, like a faction in wrestling, and trying to make them cool that way.
I'm going to get the Coombs one, actually. I saw I was looking at it, I'm getting the Coombs one, because the hammer.
Theme music, and give him a nickname, the Steel Green Hammer, and just turn it into something cool, and people will look at it. He
does look a bit Russian too, because you have that kind of communist look about.
That was the thing.
And he does look like Ivan Drago. Like he does.
I'm like, because I've got different things that I'm planning for different players. If I can get that over, if I can get it over with people, I can sell T-shirts off the back of that, and then try and make it going forward. Like I've tried different nicknames for guys before, and it just hasn't worked.
Like O'Mahony's the warlord,
the god of war. It was the war god for Peter O'Mahony. I got that over, and I can sell T-shirts. I've sold T-shirts based off that. I tried to get the Jackal over for Ty Byrne, but it didn't work, so I just dropped it. So the thing is, with social media, just delete your mistakes, and nobody ever needs to know you made them.
They seem to be calling him Tiger now. That seems to be a thing. Somebody in the Lions was talking about it lately, and they were oh, I can't wait to hang out with Tiger. It's like, Tiger.
Yes,
all right, but then you have Tiger. It's a bit transferable, like between.
Yeah, you can't make that his own. Like, I got the Man over for Keith Earls.
Oh yeah, you did.
I got that over.
Man. So, brilliant. So you could see it. It's like a trend, like the Man. Yeah.
And then that ended up in wrestling. Then afterwards, Becky Lynch,
yes,
the Irish, she ended up. But I did it first, so I'm just like, I felt I was going to go. Oh, you're ripping off Becky Lynch. Oh yeah, actually, she ripped me off.
I think she may have taken something from Shania Twain. I'm just going out on a limb. I'm just going out on a limb. Oh, that's possible. It's possible.
I owe it all to mental illness and pro wrestling, and the two things are interchangeable.
Look at this. And you say you can't use a superpower. There you go. Yeah. You say you can't use a fucking superpower. You set me up for this again. Set me up like a fucking wrestling a whole saga. This has all been a fucking ruse. Right? like the Rocky story right at the beginning. I'm gonna fucking set you up soft, and then all of a sudden show you how I'm steamrolling the fucking work. Because I know guys who are staunch. Now they would be absolute fucking noses when it comes to rugby because they want to know the goss and all the rest of it. Like, so because they know I know you, I often get messaged, but I'm like, there's no fucking way I'm messaging Tom to ask if somebody fucking did the dirt on some. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh, I wouldn't know any of that shit. But as in, sometimes I'll know if somebody's signing. Sometimes I'll know that soon beforehand, but like not always.
There's no fucking way I would text you to like any of this shit. Because like, hold up. First of all, we're grown men. I know we like fucking watching other grown men bash into each other. Like, but come on. When are we two old ones talking over a fucking washing line now? You know what I mean? When you're getting into that fucking territory, just wait and see. That's half the crack. It's just wait and see.
The whole thing with the fucking barbecue thing, like I couldn't think of anything I cared about less.
No, it's
other than the fact that they wouldn't be available for a game. It's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's summertime. People are having barbecue. You know, there's almost nothing dramatic about it.
It's summertime. Shit happens. Look, they got burned, but they'll be grand.
Yeah.
So it's just like, like there's no need to go on a massive witch hunt. I remember I seen some of the comment sections on it.
It's because there's nothing. There's nothing in anybody's lives right now.
And there's like,
nothing.
What were they thinking?
Yeah.
They wanted to make the fire bigger. That's what anybody does.
Down.
That's what anybody's thinking when they're putting fire in a fire pit or petrol in a fire pit. Make it bigger.
They fucked too much stuff on it as it was dying down. They let it go too low. They fucked too much timber on it. Went, I'm not going inside for. Where's the fucking lawnmower? Where's the? Show me over that fucking can there. Flicked it. One drop comes back. It's happened like, to us all at some stage.
Hey, it is what it is. You know what?
I've lost my fringe and my eyebrows as a result of the exact same scenario. It is what it is.
You live by the petrol can, you die by the petrol can.
New slogan on the fucking I'm just wondering who you're going to get to fucking play Hacksaw Jim Duggan through this whole. How are you going to get somebody to carry a piece of timber onto the fucking whatchamacallit? But the Hacksaw, I think, would be a good fucking name because for Ty Byrne.
That would be a good one. And the thing is, like, there's definitely something I can do with Firestarter next year. That's something I want to try. I probably can sell t-shirts in that as well. Like, everybody thinks it's a rugby analysis business. It's a t-shirt selling business.
Of course. Why the fuck do you think I have 9 different jerseys of the one I'm wearing right now? It's not because I've ever a chance to play with Munster. It's because t-shirts, please. I'll have more t-shirts.
T-shirts are cool.
I'm about to buy the Coombs one right now because I just had to look it up.
The Skibbereen hammer.
I can't ask you for a logical fucking thing on what's going to happen because nobody knows what's going to happen, what kind of season there will be, but it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun to see the fucking South Africans having a crack because we'll see some big bastards then.
People have no idea of the size that's coming.
Yeah.
Like, the thing is, like, you look at a team like La Rochelle and Toulouse who have big guys in them.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're a pretty big physical team. The Bulls are as big and as physical as any of these guys. As any of them.
Yeah.
So these guys are coming next year into the new rugby championship. And it is like people are going to be shocked at how good and how big the Bulls are, the Stormers are, the Sharks. These guys are huge. And like the thing is in the game, a lot of people are they can convince themselves that the game isn't what it is. That the game is about who's the biggest, meanest, strongest pack. Once you find out who that is, you'll usually see who's going to win the league that year.
Yeah.
Or the trophies that year or whatever. Like you look at Toulouse and everybody looks at Antoine Dupont, the little rock goblin. They look at Roman Antamac, the handsome little fly half guy.
Two good
fantastic.
No.
Two good looking guys. I don't like it.
No,
you look at the front 5 for Toulouse. You look at 2 Arnold brothers in the second row who are 6'9" each.
Yeah.
You look at Joe Corey, who is 20 odd stone and 6'4". You look at the, Charlie Faumina and all these other guys who are north of 20 stone. This is what wins games. This is what wins. Like, when you look at their pack, the size of the fellas there, Jerome Kano, Reinhard Elstad, like 6'6" back row guy, and a legit 6'6", not the House of Lies that goes with stats with fellas around the place these days. He's a legit 6'6", and like that's like its size and power wins rugby games. And people have this. You can analyze the game to death, but if you're not looking at who's got the biggest, meanest front 5, then you're missing a large part of what's going to happen in the game because, like shit doesn't happen if your guys aren't beating up their guys.
Yeah, because that's what it is.
It's simple. Like it's in Like a lot of my analysis focuses on that first rather than, a fancy strike play, which everybody's fine. Like, who's beating somebody up in the scrum? Who's beating them up in the maul? Who's winning the collisions? Like, if you're not winning the collisions in the game of rugby today, you're not winning shit.
You look at the Ulster match, how they were just fucking blasting. Like, they were that venom to how Munster were just blasting them off the fucking ball. And you're like, the lads couldn't catch their fucking breath. The Ulster lads were like, we are ending up 5 meters backwards with our fucking hole wrapped around the back of our head.
Yeah, it's like, I think one of the biggest things that I hate about the game and the way the game is covered is that people make out that type of rugby is boring.
Oh my God. You fucking joke me. Lads absolutely moonsawing across each other, just fucking spearing each other off the ground like some sort of fucking shark.
It's like, do you know what the best game I saw recently? Glasgow versus Leinster in the Pro 14 Rainbow Cup.
Not because Leinster got beaten.
An end of season game. Yeah, look, whatever, Leinster lost or whatever. I don't really think about Leinster. But you look at the that game. It wasn't a fantastic game where there was loads of great tries. It wasn't a high-scoring game, back and forth. It was a game with a lot of scraps, a lot of niggle, a lot of fighting, and a lot of tension, and it was a close game. That's what I think people look at in this modern, like in the game, what people are missing. They don't want fantastic, free-flowing attacking rugby for the most part. When rugby was at its most popular, when Munster were winning it, how were we playing? Were we playing massive attacking rugby, slinging the ball, offloading? We
Not
were
at all.
beating teams out the fucking gate, up front. John Hayes, Paul O'Connell, Donegal O'Callaghan, Jerry Flannery, beating fellas out the fucking gate physically. Win that, and you will win games. And we loved it.
Yeah,
and we loved it.
Yeah, because they were living our wars for us. You know, we were going, that's what fucking. That's my guy. That's my guy right there, beating the shit out of another big meaty looking fucker.
Yeah. Oh, these English lads coming over. They think they're going to win here, do they?
Yeah. It's just fucking wrestling 101.
You better think the fuck again. And that's and that was the coolest shit about it. And that's what brought a lot of people on. Was not free flowing attacking rugby. It was kicking the fucking ball, mauling teams to death, going around the corner, beating them up. That's what people want to see.
Yeah.
Entertaining rugby is great to some people. I'm sure somebody loves it. But for me, I love forward collisions, big hits, mauling. That's where the money is in the game.
I mean, you know that they want to expand the game to the fair weather fan who just wants to show up and say, loads of tries. Can we make actually the pitch wider? Can we make the pitch wider? Because I have some foie gras to eat. I won't take up on it because I know you've a program for tomorrow night's match to fucking write against the final game of the season against Zebra. I just reminded you of that.
Yes.
Give everybody a shout out to Best Place because your Patreon. You're the only person I've ever interviewed where I'm actually a Patreon on yours as well. So this is the fun, but it's the best place because there's so much fucking content coming out.
And the thing is, I try to have as little bullshit on there as possible. It is my main aim. So patreon.com/3 Red Kings is where I do the majority of my stuff. You can be there €2, €5, €10 a month. You can get yearly deals with a month off, or with a month free. So that's on there, or Twitter at Twitter/ or at
the Twitter is what people trust me. The gifs and the fucking the gifs and just the media content. Just go to Tom's 3 Red Kings and just go click on the media and just go down through it. There's some
and just beautiful. Understand, I'm working a heel gimmick on there most of the time.
It's fucking hilarious. It's a tongue-in-cheek. But also you just do this asshole thing every so often. And I know what you're up to. You're just drawing about where like somebody will draw about, it'll be a penalty kick or whatever, and it's just sail, and it'll be like this Celine Dion, my heart will go on, and all of a sudden, bah, 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 and it's just this siren playing fucking Celine Dion's, and it's the most horrific sound, but it's like, it's
an air horn version of My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion.
It's fucking horrific. It's brilliant.
I get some lovely wriggling lads in there every now and then kind of going, oh, are you serious? You think this is so cool? Oh, brilliant. It's just like, come on now.
No.
Working a heel gimmick, my boy.
Tom Savage, this has been fucking brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on.
And my thanks again to Tom. Fantastic stuff. So, like he said, follow him on 3redkings.com, or you can catch up on anything on Twitter at 3 Red Kings. You won't be sorry. Have a look at some of the gear. How good was that story? How good was that life story? Talk about pulling yourself back out of it just when you thought they were out. Incredible stuff. Brilliant. I apologize for the opening sound of this. I am such an idiot when I did the very, very beginning of it. Yes, it was in fact my webcam's microphone, the new webcam's microphone, and not my actual microphone. So I'm talking into my microphone like an absolute idiot. My apologies for that if it was a bit on the rough side for the intro. But look it, we'll get through it, people. It's not too bad. Thank you all very, very much for listening. You know what to do. Like, share, subscribe. If you can, leave a comment, because there will be a big tasty prize for top comment when we hit the 200th episode. So you know the story. Share it. If you want to join the Patreon, you know you can watch today's video. You get ad-free content. You get all the early access to everything. And now you get Ramble Pods, which are exclusive to patrons. And you get to jump on board with the live Ramble Pods every couple of weeks. So look it, lads, I can do no more for you. I hope you enjoyed the hell out of that. Go on away, enjoy the lovely weekend, and I'll talk to you again on Monday. Good night, couple of stings.